I'm tired and anxious.
You're anxious. Is that because of a man or?
Leave Brittany alone, Al.
Series of men.
A man.
Like, I saw a meme today that said, today feels like the whole country is waiting for an STD test result. True.
Accurate.
I like
STD result.
I like the Maury meme where everyone's
Somebody's
trying to
phone
see
is
who the
playing.
father is.
Can you minimize your phone, please? Yeah. Well, good evening, America, and welcome to the most diverse conversation in the LGBTQ world. Tonight, we are going to ask our host what their number one takeaway from the election has been. We explore gender and ask, is trans, genderqueer, and the like a choice? And why is this the wedge issue used by Americans? Finally, in our hot topics, we are going to discuss the best reporting that the number of LGBTQ who voted for Trump nearly doubled from 2016 to 2020. And you will be shocked how many LGBTQ that voted didn't even cast a vote for president. In our fun Just One More Sentence, did you know that Oregon voters decriminalized drugs? All drugs. My friends Bianca Del Rio and Lady Bunny are hateful hags. I hate them. They're hags, I say. Watch why. We discuss why Daily Show's Trevor Noah may hate Floridians as he wants to blow us off the map. Wait, someone define blow. And say it ain't so. Thor's brother Loki is going to be doing men in a new Disney Plus series. Give me just a moment to compose myself.
Get your hands on the table.
Something totally true, something totally unique, an interactive platform. Now we're going to really play with all these words for LGBTQ conversation with interesting individuals from our community. Some anyway. These topics and your ability to participate, and we have found something new. And it's all live for Thursday, November 5th, 2020, next on Gay Town Hall. Loki.
All the people be thirsty.
I'm sorry. Can I say Loki?
Oh, you said low key.
Low key. Can somebody define blow for me? Blow.
It's what you was doing on Halloween night.
I don't know. I just know how to suck.
Y'all are crazy.
All right, we're 10 seconds.
Here's what this show.
5, 4,
Energy.
3,
Keep it up.
2, 1. Well, good evening, America. And before we introduce our host, I would just like to remind you that this show is aired alive. Anything can happen, and frequently it does. There are so many moving pieces. Let's see if we can get this right. Maybe we can, maybe we can't. I'm your moderator and referee, more referee, frankly, Al Ferguson. And this is Gay Town Hall for Thursday, November 5th, 2020. So let's meet this amazing cast. I'm going to ask our host what's on their mind this week. And the question that I'm going to ask is, what is your number one takeaway from the election of a lifetime? First up, this is Power Infinity. He is a hybrid DJ and diva and lives in Lakeland, Florida. Good evening, Power.
Let's get it together. Going through all these bitches till you get to me. Hey, child. Listen, what's on my mind is that the All Lives Matter crowd is extremely upset to learn that all votes matter.
Oh. Next up is Houston Cypress. He is a two-spirit gay Native American and lives with the Miccosukee tribe of Florida in the heart of the Everglades. Good evening, Houston.
Hi, good evening, Al, and good evening to all my friends and family across Turtle Island. And my biggest takeaway from this election of a lifetime is the way that, amazingly, despite the polarization, how these communities of support are really coming together and lifting each other up in this in the face of despair.
And next up is Dr. Ty Hauser. He's a progressive college English professor and has taught extended semesters in China, India, South America, and more. He is from Wilton Manors, Florida. Welcome, Ty.
Good evening, everyone. It's nice to be here. The biggest thing that I learned from this election is that Nevada finds it really easy to get people who can count cards, but they haven't quite figured out how to count votes yet.
That's cute. Next up is John Holt. He identifies with non-culture definition, perhaps even anti-culture. He lives in America's largest gay campground, where I spent Halloween, the Sawmill in Dade City, Florida. Good evening, John.
Good evening, Al. What I learned is, why are 600,000 Nevadans going to be the key to my next president?
Many of them prostitutes. This is Rossaroni. He is an actor and a Broadway drama queen living in Lantana, Florida. Good evening, Rossaroni.
Evening. My biggest takeaway from this whole thing is that reporters seem to have this obsession over colors and showing it off. Like, this state is red and this state is blue. It is? Thanks.
This is Taisha
Wow.
Best. They are asexual and polyamorous, using the pronoun them. A flight attendant living right here in Wilton Manors, but currently in Oakland. Good evening, Taisha.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome aboard. So my number one takeaway was Chinese food, Taco Bell, and mac and cheese that I ate to offset all the anxiety that I had from not only this election, but the union contract election that I'm also dealing with at the same time.
Yeah, it's called stress eating. And this is Elimination Onyx. He's a sex-positive leather pansexual from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Good evening, Elimination.
Hey, Al. Hey, Kinky Human. So my takeaway from this whole election is that America needs to talk to Showtime with the Apollo and Sandman Sims and get one of those long hooks so we can just start snatching people.
Right. And next up is Gordon Woodworth III. He's 24 and a Gen Zer. They work for the LGBTQ charity Broward House and identifies as genderqueer and non-binary. They are also pagan. They live in Fort Lauderdale. Welcome, Gordon.
Thanks, Al, and hello, comrades. My number one takeaway is that we're all in a bubble, and these election results prove it. I know it because we're not talking about one of the most important things. Puerto Rico is going to be a state.
Oh, excellent. All right. Well, we encourage you, America, to participate in this thread. You can see it right there on the screen. And tell us what you think. Stay right along with us and comment on the things that we're going to talk about tonight at Gay Town Hall. First up, we have an interesting segment called Just One More Sentence. Tonight, I'm going to give interesting headlines from this week, and all of the Gay Town Hall hosts are going to weigh in by writing the story themselves. But there's a twist. They can only do it in just one more sentence. But combined, all the hosts are hopefully tell the story in a hilarious, interesting, and entertaining way. So let's go. Just one.
Group project, y'all.
The first one. Let's dive right into Gay Town Hall. Is this America or is it Amsterdam? On Tuesday, the residents of Oregon took a much more liberal step as they voted to decriminalize drugs in their state. While likely Oregon is going to be challenged in federal courts, Oregon is going to get the hell of a lot of new visitors on the news of this. So let's write the story in just one more sentence. Headline: Oregon votes to decriminalize all drugs, including meth, cocaine, and even magic mushrooms. Power.
Well, as a recovering drug addict and whose drug use actually led to an arrest, I'm actually in favor of this measure because it promotes decriminalizing drug use and also rehabilitation. So I'm all for it.
Houston.
Indigenous people have been using these psychedelic gifts of the earth for thousands of generations, and I'm happy that America is finally going to tune in, and level up.
Nice.
Ty?
So, in a counter move, the American Dental Association said premiums are going up by 50%.
John?
Rude.
With intelligent moves like this, I may have to move to the northeast.
Yeah. It's the
Northwest,
Northwest,
sorry.
John. It's
Yeah,
the
sorry.
Northwest.
John's already doing the magic mushrooms.
It's been a tough week, Al.
Host, can we pause the show a moment? Oregon's in the Northwest.
West, Northwest.
Push the
And
mushrooms away.
Rossaroni?
Oregon, because what else are you gonna do?
True. Taisha?
Yeah, I'm excited about all the harm reduction programs that are going to come from this law.
Elimination.
Oregon, kudos. Great way to ensure proper treatment and accountability for small meat. But what are y'all going to do with all those empty jail cells?
And Gordon?
Thank you, Oregon. You've made a huge step towards fixing systemic racism and helping people who have real problems. And to you, I say, hell yeah, man.
We're right at the top of the show, so since we're on this topic, John, you're going to have to lay off the magic mushrooms until the end of the show.
I'm going for DMT. I didn't see DMT in that list, Al. Where's that? I want to see God.
All right.
Let's recognize
move
Chris
on.
Jacobs and tell him that
Just
we are
grab your
actually
ankles.
live, Chris Jacobs.
Yeah, exactly.
Chris, we all live. So just
All
tell
right.
John, grab his ankles. We'll see God then.
Let's move to hot topic number 1 tonight. LGBTQ America, did you hear about what happened this week? There was an election on Tuesday. I don't know if you heard. Unlike
Really?
anything we have ever seen before, watch this.
So no, I'm not troubled at all by the president suggesting that, because the other side's already doing it too. And you can anticipate in close elections, both sides will be lawyered up and will end up in court. It's happened over and over and over again, nothing unusual. Having close disputed elections is not unusual. It happens all the time. So I don't think the president should be criticized for suggesting he may have some lawyers, because the other guys are certainly already doing that. And in a close election, you could anticipate in some of these states you're going to end up in court. The American way.
Well, America had record turnout with 100 million mail-in ballots. But 270 is the only number important now, and it looks like Biden is on the cusp of winning the election. But not by the landslide that we all expected. Florida was an incredible disappointment, especially from Latinos and perhaps black men as voters. So now we turn our attention to Trump's court challenges. We ask in hot topic number 1, LGBTQ America fear in 2020 is looking a lot more like 2000. The ultimate vote may be by a judge. So, in-depth analysis here on the election. Who wants to start?
That old turtle.
Thanks for the in-depthness. That's great.
Thank you. That's my insight. That's what I can do.
I really do think that if it does go to the courts, they do have the Bush v. Gore
Playbook?
Playbook to run by. And I do think that a majority of the justices will kind of follow suit with that. I don't think we're in for a really big fight.
I agree with you. I think that America, I'm sorry, Taisha, I do think America has spoken. I do think that law and order will finally be utilized positively. And so therefore, I agree with you that the people will speak, the court system will finally do what it's supposed to do and analyze the laws correctly.
I also loved, I don't know if people realize this, but if you were listening to Mitch McConnell, he never sided with the president that he was talking about. He gave a very neutral answer, which I feel like the entire Republican Party right now is wanting to give neutral answers, because I'm not so sure if they themselves are excited for a re-elected second term of a Trump presidency.
Yeah.
And so I think we're all crossing our fingers that, as Elimination said, that justice will actually balance out the amount of tyranny that we've experienced in the last 4 years.
Well, I guess I'm more hopeful because I actually do not believe that all the fighting that Trump and his lawyers are going to do is going to amount to anything. They might protract this election, but in the end, I believe that they will get the boot. And personally, I am not. I'm actually looking forward to him fighting. I really hope he does. I hope he fights. I hope he kicks. I hope he screams, because the harder he fights, the harder it's going to be for him to admit defeat when inevitably defeat does come. And I hope that they drag his stankin' ass out the White House on national TV, CNN Live, for everybody to see. Yeah, that's what I want.
And you know who's going to do it? It's going to be the armed forces. But I wanted to say, I think we can all agree that the demon that possesses Mitch McConnell is performing really well in his act tonight. He just delivered those lies and that narrative like so smoothly. But I do want to say that to all of us on the left, this is not a time for us to get comfortable and get calm and say, oh, everything is going to be fine. I think we still need to be paying a lot of attention to what's going on, because like I said before, fascists do not give up. They believe that they have a right to rule, and they're going to keep fighting. So we have to stop them and make sure every single vote gets counted.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing is that, if it came down to like one state, then I would be a little bit more worried. Like if it came down to one state. But when you have in play right now Arizona, Nevada, Georgia, and Pennsylvania, that it looks like is trending toward Biden, then it's really an insurmountable challenge on Trump's part to try to say that there was cheating and fraud in all those states. I mean, he literally is filing petitions and filing lawsuits in almost every single state. And in one breath, he wants the votes to continue where he is gaining ground. Like, for example, in Arizona, he was actually mad at Fox for calling Arizona, early. But on the other hand, he wants the vote counts to stop. So you can't have it both ways. And I really think that it's an uphill battle for him. I think it's futile. He is definitely going to get dog walked and get the fuck out of here. But I'm looking forward to this drama cum flama.
I'm curious to everybody. Hold on one sec. Hold on. I'm curious in terms of the "let's stop the vote" comment that's being made. He's repeating it now. He's tweeting it now. Fox News. Pause. Fox News says the current Electoral College vote is 264 for Biden, 214 for Trump, meaning Biden is just 6 votes away. If we followed his instruction to stop the vote, Biden is president of the United States because no one gets past 270. And therefore, it constitutionally pushes into the House of Representatives. And Nancy Pelosi and the House decides who the president is.
Here's the problem. He doesn't know that. He has no clue how the Constitution works.
I mean, it's amazing. I mean, it's on the face of it, it's so stupid. Like, if he actually got his way, he still wouldn't win. So I really don't understand. We've never had a president that was so ignorant when it comes to just basic civic government, just how the government works. I mean, of course, but what else can you expect from the same man who looked up into an eclipse? I mean, he's...
And so with power that I actually like the drama that he's creating, because I think that he's going to be known as not only the crazy guy, but the hypocritical guy, so that for history, when young people are learned about this year and these elections, they can see how 4 years ago he spoke this, and 4 years ago the same tools that he utilized to win are the same tools that he's fighting for as he loses. And so that's going to be the new soundbite. That's going to be the new project.
What I don't understand, and I could care less about Trump, why is it that the popular vote is so lopsided, yet we're so damn close? Something is wrong here. I can't believe
We have to get rid of the Electoral College.
Exactly. I can't believe Nevada is going to decide the president. 600,000 people in Nevada. I mean, come on.
So hold on.
You know,
Y'all just realize
it's ridiculous.
that John just kind of stood up when we said get rid of the Electoral College and get rid of systemic racism where Electoral College came from. John just sided with that. I love you, John. That's amazing, right? What you just did.
I mean, but
welcome aboard. Welcome aboard.
I've never been off, but still, it's so lopsided now that it's not even close, right? I mean, Trump's got like 47.9 or something.
It's always been lopsided.
So I just want to say one thing that I think is positive about all of this, even though there's a lot of negativity going on still as the results roll in. I think that what is being shown right now is that across the country, people on both sides of the aisle, you know, we saw what happened in 2016. We saw that there was interference. We saw that there's like some shit going on. And I do really believe that people on the local level, regardless of party, who are in control of our elections have put a lot in place to protect them and to count these votes. And I think that is a really good sign that here in America, we believe in democracy.
Gordon,
I want to
piggyback onto that observation. As everyone knows, all of our hosts knows, I'm getting ready to close our conversation on this topic. But I do want to do a flash poll here to the exact point that you have just brought up. The Associated Press and Fox News, as I just said, has Biden at 264 electoral votes. The magic number is 270. He's close. So I'm going to ask a flash poll asking all of our hosts to give us just one word, but a little different tonight. It's going to be a name of a state. Please do not any other comment other than the state's name. Does everybody understand my request? Here is the flash poll question. If Biden gets to 270 in the Electoral College, which state is going to put him over the top? You're going to tell me the name of the state that is going to do it. Power?
Surprisingly enough, Georgia.
Georgia. Houston?
Georgia.
Georgia. Ty?
I have faith in my Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. John?
Nevada.
Nevada. Rossaroni?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Taisha?
I'm going with Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Elimination?
Georgia.
Georgia. Gordon?
Georgia.
The majority of our gay town hall hosts think Georgia is going to put us over the top. If that happens, it will be historic. Georgia is not a Michigan or a Wisconsin or a Pennsylvania. It's in the heart of the deep South. Amazing. We're going to watch this closely, of course. All right, next we would like to share that Happening Out Television Network is broadcasting in our permanent set partnership with Sunshine Cathedral. This is the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. We always joke the gayest place on planet Earth. And our support of their Sunday celebration is the largest LGBTQ religious broadcast in the world. About 30,000 people watch every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, and it's live. We encourage you to tune in to Sunshine Cathedral, and Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church. Watch this.
Reverend Dr. Ann Atwell, Minister of Connections. Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
We'd also like to thank our set designer, Conceptual Modern Living here in Fort Lauderdale, for making this set in this amazing queer church campus possible. Well, let's do another Just One More Sentence. Happening Television Network and Queer News Tonight is the worldwide leader in LGBTQ live news. But we are getting some unusual competition, and we love it. Watch this.
Tonight, we're going to talk a lot of shit about a lot of queens.
I support getting rid of guns. Let's start with Gia Gun.
I really wish Alexis would have continued to impersonate Walter Mercado once she was off the show. By dying. And heirs. At home, watching their fame fade away. And Derek Barry is also in the cast. You know, the Britney clone. I think she started taking this impression too far when she managed to get bipolar disorder. Kidding! Derek doesn't have one personality, much less two. Tonight, we're going to talk a lot of
No!
They just blew up Al.
That explains.
I asked everybody
Damn,
at the
that
top
was
of the
Al.
show, would we get all of this right? And this is live. Have we proved it for you? All right, no problem. All right.
Loaded, that's funny.
So the Hags Hateful Network. Let's write the story in just one more sentence. Headline: Bianca Del Rio and Lady Bunny launch HHN, the Hateful Hags Network. What do you think? Power?
Well, as somebody who's actually been the mention of Bianca Del Rio's on stage rants, and having worked with Lady Bunny quite a few times, I'm actually hoping that I don't end up as headline news as often as RuPaul does here.
Houston.
This two-spirit diva is ready for this dynamic duo. Bring it on, baby.
Ty.
Two bitter queens on a streaming news service. Al finally has competition.
I'm going to call Bianca and Lady Bunny in on you. You mark my words. John.
It'll be a hit with straight people.
Rossaroni.
Did they broadcast this from their nursing home?
Oh.
I'll make sure that's real. I'll make sure it's not too binding.
Too soon! Too soon!
Goodbye, you guys. I'm gonna die of hate.
Taisha.
They're gonna kill me.
Yeah, if they are gonna do a Hateful Hag Network, I definitely advise them to bring in a black drag queen to offset the lack of humor that I just saw in that video clip.
Elimination.
Hateful Hag Network. Al, you finally got a home.
Gordon?
Yes.
Before I heard this story, I thought the Hateful Hag Network was just slang for the Daughters of Confederate Veterans.
Ooh, that went dark.
That went very dark. All right, let's move into our hot topic number 2 tonight here at Gay Town Hall. Ladies and gentlemen, he, she, they, them, it's also damn confusing. And that's just to the LGBTQ community. Watch this.
My name is Seamus. My name's Nellie. My name's Luke. I'm a dancer, blogger. I'm a scout. I'm a fashion design student.
I play basketball and I'm transgender.
And I'm transgender. And I'm also transgender.
People generally don't have a strong idea of what it is like to be transgender.
Transgender is when your gender identity is misaligned from the gender assigned at birth.
Gender identity is who you are and sexuality is who you're attracted to.
Gender is emotional and intellectual. It's about who you are, not who you're interested in.
Being transgender is wonderful because I'm truly who I am. I'm at ease, I'm comfortable, I'm happy, and that's all that matters.
Trans people are just like everybody else in the sense that you're a normal person, you just happen to also be trans.
Jay is my son. He's a very confident young man and has been more confident since he came out about 3 years ago.
My son is transgender, his name's Luke. He's very happy and he's very good to other people. He hasn't changed as a person, which is what I always wanted.
There's no one way to be trans.
You can't know somebody is trans based on their appearance.
Let people be themselves.
Transgender people are like everyone else.
And the Trump's wedge issue with evangelicals, Republicans, and more. It's confusing at best, which leads to sometimes ridiculous comments by people like Harry Potter's J.K. Rowling and her manifesto. But what is trans, genderqueer, gender fluid? And how can cis people discuss it without being shamed or bullying? It brings us to hot topic number 2 tonight here at Gay Town Hall. Trans as choice, genderqueer, fluid, and why are we so confused? Who would like to start?
Gordon.
Okay, I wanted to make sure because I'm not the only person on this panel who falls under this category, so I don't want to speak for all of us. But I did want to say that I'm glad that the video clip just has the definition of what transgender is, and I'd like to point out that that definition is backed up by the American Psychological Association, it's backed up by Harvard, it's backed up by Merriam-Webster. So I want to say, because of our conversation last week, that the definition of transgender is anybody who does not identify with their presumed sex at birth. So if you look it up, the antonym for transgender is cisgender. So by that definition, anybody who is not cisgender is therefore transgender. Okay? So all of us non-binary folks, genderqueer people, two-spirit people, including male to female and female to male transgender people, would all be considered transgender by that definition. Not everybody in that group will identify as transgender, however, everybody falls in that category by the virtue of the fact that they're not cisgender.
So do you see an inherent problem here, Gordon, in the fact that you used a binary to define non-binary?
Absolutely, which is why I always like to say that I personally identify as queer, but I say non-binary because I feel like that's the reference point for our society at the moment, and that's one of those words that I feel like is closest to where I'm at.
You misunderstand my point. Your definition depended on a binary. The trans is this, and the opposite of trans is cis, and it's either this or that. That's a binary. So your definition relies on a binary, but it is defining a binary.
I guess I don't know. To me, honestly, it's just what I'm referencing based on the definition. I would like someone else to chime in here.
I don't mean to be a prick. I don't mean to be a prick about this because I absolutely agree with you.
This is my lifeline, Taisha.
No, I think it's a good.
Gordon was like, save me.
I do agree with you,
and I believe that. I can't be the only one doing this every week. I can't.
You know what?
Only one.
Wait, hold on one sec. Let me jump in to help Gordon for a moment. Last week, let me explain the context of how this happened.
Oh, okay.
Last week, we had a very well-known Latina trans activist, certainly the best known in South Florida, and she and another representative from the organization became objectioned because they were not the principal voices in our conversation at Gay Town Hall about trans. And there was a call out, and it was a very harsh observation of this is the problem of everyone talking about trans. And it was kind of a finger wag moment. And Gordon said, without being seen on camera, wait, I identify as trans. And that's the setup of this conversation and many other related questions that relate to this, why we're having this conversation.
And I do feel that way. I feel like the groups of people that are in a situation most similar to my own would also call themselves trans. And I think that most of the people who are dealing with we're all dealing with the same type of struggle, in that there's this weird existent binary that for some reason conflates gender to genitalia, and I don't identify with that in any way whatsoever. And perhaps it's just that we're trying to figure out the language right now, but I don't know. But at this moment, I feel like non-binary people and male to female and female to male transgender people should be united in this front, in that we're all trying to change the understanding societally of what gender is and what it's supposed to be.
There's a lot of people in the Gay Town Hall here tonight. Can you address that observation? Maybe our language hasn't caught up with the push of the speed of embracement of trans in America, and we just don't have the words yet to be able to express in the way that we need to.
I disagree. I disagree. The words are there. I think what the expectation is cisgender people are expecting for those who are not cisgender to explain everything to them like we are paid college professors in a classroom on an 8 to 5 schedule. So, my thing is, and to answer your original question, Al, education matters, and to not always assume to ask someone who is not cisgender to reach into possibly their own trauma to explain and educate them on something when there is a plethora of education materials available to them for them to research first, come to the table with some background information. And that sets up a little more equitable respect in between the two parties, to where it's not always people like Gordon and Houston and Elimination and I always sitting in the seat of being defending our existence to those who are confused. Because I don't think the word confused is the word that needs to be used here. It is the word uneducated and ignorant, because some people just don't want to be educated. And some people want to sit in that place of ignorance and then operate in the spirit of oppression to those that they don't understand. So as someone who falls under the asexual spectrum, because gender is a spectrum, you can be cisgender, you can be trans, you can be two-spirit, and it's not necessarily a binary system when it comes to gender identity. It is it's different when you're talking about gender assignment, which is why we have assigned female at birth, assigned male at birth, and that kind of language. That language exists to talk about how you were assigned versus how you want to identify. How you want to identify is not on the binary system. More how you are assigned is on the binary system, because that is more of a government kind of aptitude. I don't know, that's probably not the word I should have used, but it's more of a government assignment that we are now decolonizing versus gender identity, which is a non-binary assignment that we are allowing ourselves to use as an empowerment tool to be able to be more relatable to each other.
Since we are Gay Town Hall, which includes our viewers, I don't know if production can run back the comment right before this one, because that person had two very, I think, valid questions. The person was responding to Taisha, and I'd like to allow Taisha to clarify. The person said, well, what are you saying? Basically, how are we supposed to educate ourselves if we don't ask questions? And are you saying that we're supposed to educate ourselves before we even come to you for some education? I'm paraphrasing. I wish that there was a way that production can, catalyst. So you're saying don't talk to you until I educate myself. So, Taisha, can you respond to that?
I can definitely respond to that. For me, if there is something, as a child, I was very exploratory. I had many questions for myself. My parents were never home, or they were super annoyed that I was always asking them questions. And I used the encyclopedia. I used AOL when that shit, that popping came on. I used Google. And so, like, for instance, for example, the thing that really boggles my mind is, even at work when people step on the plane and one of the first questions they ask is, "Can I touch your hair?" I was like, if you had Googled that, you would have known that the answer would have been no. But you did not Google, so now I have to do that research for you. Some of the stuff is light foundational research, right? We are asking you to do light foundational research. Just like when we did the live debate, when I asked people, hey, when was the last time you had a meal with someone black and talked about race? And the audience was white, and barely any of them raised their hand. I'm asking for people to take a humane effort to sit at the table with people who you don't identify with
Taisha,
and have the conversation without it being an experiment for us.
You're heard completely loud and clear. But what if they choose not to?
Then it ain't my problem.
What if
it's ignorance? It's ignorance.
All right. Let's start in terms of the identification of trans in America. Once upon one time it's happening out, Aaron Phoenix and I got into a conversation, and it was viewed perhaps negative on my part because I talked about the economic impact that the trans community and their value in economic value, which is what so many people, especially in conservative circles, view. Okay. Let's say identification of trans in America, just for the sake of discussion, is 0.5%. Let's just assume, because I don't want to get caught up in the numbers. That is asking 99.5% of the people who are ignorant to stop being ignorant. So if there's going to be realism in this conversation, we have to address that issue.
Well, so can I just on the Two-Spirit side? Let me just share. And I don't want to speak long, but let me share my coming out of the Two-Spirit. So I had to grow into my Two-Spirit side because when my family left the native ground to go north, a lot of the traditions, a lot of things were lost. But something in me always had a gift, and so I would go to church, and people always would say, "Use your gift, use your gift, use your gift." I didn't understand what that meant, and I didn't understand the power that I had. I just knew that was something that was in me that I didn't know how to express. That I expressed either whether it was physically or emotionally, or even in verbiage, but couldn't be who I really was. It wasn't until I really identified with the power of what Two-Spirit is and what all that means that I was able to give it a label. No, I cannot speak as Taisha, but I can speak from the Two-Spirit in me and saying that until you get some facts of understanding what that is, the conversation is very one-sided. The conversation is very weight-giving because now it's a whole lot of definition, but it's never a lot of let me see you, let me respect you, let me hear what you're saying, because you're not hearing me. All you're doing is pulling out of me, and you're not pouring back into me.
How do we change that?
The fact that what we're talking about.
How does the broad American society, and including the LGBT.
When someone tells you that exists, the first thing that, as Taisha mentioned, let's go find out what does it mean. What is that person place? How do they fit into this community? So
no,
we're having a conversation.
No, that's not the right answer to the right question. No, because you can't even get to that. You can't get to that unless there's an opportunity to have that conversation. Most people won't even give the opportunity to have that conversation.
That's not what no one said. No one said that.
I think that part of what we're doing here tonight.
I think this is one of the reasons that we have to support. I think this is one of the reasons that we have to support artists of diverse gender, because the arts can tell an amazing story in such a quick way. And one of the greatest films I saw recently was this film called Two Eyes, which featured a Two-Spirit story, a transgender story, and a non-binary story all in one film. So I think that aside from doing our own research and educating ourselves about how amazing our friends and family are, we have to support the artists because they're able to tell complex stories so quickly and so beautifully. So check out that film, Two Eyes. That's what I'm talking about.
I definitely also want to answer Al's question. The first thing you can
Mm-hmm.
do when someone is trans is to acknowledge and validate by saying, "Yes, you are. How can I help and support you?" It is language that I use on an airplane to a complete stranger. You can talk to a complete stranger. You can see that they're struggling. You can walk right up to them, see they're struggling. Hi, my name is Taisha. They're like, hey, blah, blah, blah. I have this issue. Okay, how may I best support you? You don't have to do any kind of research at that point. You don't have to know any knowledge about two-spirit, queer, trans, or anything. The first thing you can do is acknowledge, accept, validate, ask how you can support. So that will answer the question that the community member had in that chat.
And I want to also answer Al's question here, but I want to say one thing first. With anybody in the world, however you perceive them, however they look to you, that does not define what their gender is. And no matter how you feel about it, that's the fact of the matter. At this point, non-binary genders, third genders, they're recognized by science. Like I said, this is in the American Psychological Association. But what I want to say, let me finish because I'm actually going to answer Al's question. I'm one of those people that I try in my own life to talk to all the people who don't understand what I am. And I know not everybody will do that, but that's what I'm trying to do right now. And that's what I'm doing in my life every day. I am a Unitarian Universalist, and that I have been able to go during services and give a talk about what is non-binary, what is genderqueer, what is trans. Let's talk about this stuff, because I feel like it's mostly just our language is developing and we're learning how to describe these things, and to help my own skin, am going to use my own voice to talk about it to other people, and that's what we got to do. And at the end of the day, I also think that we've always kind of been here. It's just that we called ourselves different things. I think a lot of people that, when like Gen Xers and Boomers and whatnot, when they were younger, those people that we would think of ourselves as non-binary or genderqueer now, they were just calling themselves bisexual, or they were just calling themselves, in some cases, transsexual, or they were calling whatever.
Stone Butch was also a word used.
And they were doing that realness. They were doing,
I'm
they
sorry.
might have even called it drag.
I'm sorry, I've got to bring our conversation to an end, but I promise you, we are going to continue this conversation. There are so many different things that we need to talk about, and it's very valuable for us to be able to educate ourselves, our own LGBTQ community, and then the broad community as a whole. And so we're going to move out of our conversation tonight. Been very interesting. Let's move into just one more sentence and another one of the big headline news of the week. Why does the rest of the nation make such a joke about Florida? We call it the freak show state. That's our own joke for it. We did it again this week when, of all counties, Miami-Dade County Latinos delivered the Florida election to Donald Trump. Did they forget about the southern border wall and cages? It seems that they did. So when comedians across the country started to suggest what should be done with Florida, it got our attention. Watch this. So we're showing you something that happened on Noah's show, and we ask in just one more sentence. Headline: Daily Show Trevor Noah wonders if Florida could be blasted off the map. Power, what do you think?
Well, anytime a headline has Florida in it, you already know it's going to be buffoonery.
Right. Houston?
Oh man, I love the Daily Show. People need to just laugh at it and enjoy it. It was give the guy a break, man.
Yeah. Ty?
We're crazy, but the only thing I want to know, did Jon Stewart approve that joke?
Oh. John?
I felt a great disturbance in the force, as if millions of voices were crying in terror.
Rossaroni?
As a Florida man who regularly rides naked on the back of crocodiles, I dare you to try.
As a Florida man who rides naked on the back of other men, Taisha.
Oh, I don't have a rebuttal because I have done that.
Yes.
Yes, queen.
Oh, shut up.
I just, if they blow up Florida, I don't know where they're going to get their oranges if they keep locking people up in cages and help import it in. So.
True. Elimination.
Something that I'm sure Trevor has heard before. Just a tip. Just a tip.
Oh, right. Gordon.
Please, America can't live without us. Florida is America's daily reality TV station, and they can't live without Florida Man stories.
Absolutely.
So true.
But I just ponder in my head one more time. We do have this technology, because if we do, can we do everything in Florida except the Blue Islands that apparently are still in this state? Let's move on to hot topic number 3 tonight, and that is the election for LGBTQ America is unlike anything else in this election, but it's like everything else in this election. It's 50-50. Good news and bad news. The largest exit poll survey done by Edison Research has found shocking results of what the LGBTQ community did on Tuesday. Are you holding your seats? First, turnout grew. In 2018 midterms, 6% of the voters were LGBTQ, 5% in 2016, while on Tuesday that number had increased to 7% of all voters. Excellent. Huge turnout. That's the good news. Now the surprising news. In 2016, just 17% of the LGBTQ America voted for Trump, but that increased to 28% on Tuesday, a 70% increase. A 70% increase. Even more shocking, 77% of the LGBTQ community supported Clinton in 2016. And on Tuesday, that had fallen for Biden, to just 61% of the vote. That's what he got. So we ask in hot topic number 3, LGBTQ voter turnout was an all-time high in this election, and support for Trump skyrocketed. What do y'all think?
I want to know where we're getting that data to show which gay people voted what, because it's not a choice on the ballot, and they don't ask it on the census. So how is this being collected? By a poll?
No, we're not rejecting the numbers based on that. It was a pretty sizable exit survey poll, broadly done, but one of the components was LGBT, if you identified it LGBT. So it's a very common practice, and it was a significant survey poll. I don't think we should pull this argument or conversation apart based on the validity of the methodology of the study, because I don't think that's valuable.
I wasn't polled.
Oh no! White person wasn't polled.
Wait.
I've never met anybody who's been told in my life.
Gordon crashed the ship, and I'm gonna take us off the rocks.
I'm just like.
Hold on, I'm gonna take us off the rocks. This is the same polling methodology as 2018, as the same methodology of 2016. So even if there's degrees of inaccuracy, it doesn't apply to the result changes. That's important.
But
okay, I'm
right.
sorry. Go ahead.
The question, instead of denying the numbers, why don't we figure out why more people are voting for Trump instead of denying it? What is it? Don't miss it. Try to figure it out. I don't know. I can't even fathom why. Is it economic?
Hashtag walkaway told us.
You know what? I can fathom why.
Wait, I want to focus on that. Hashtag walkaway said, our identification on trans is really harming you. Your identification in terms of economics is really harming you. Making sexual orientation as a determinative in society is really harming you. And we are walking away from the Democratic Party to the Republicans. That's why. I don't agree with it,
no,
but that's their argument.
That's right. That's their argument, and the people that choose to believe that argument, it's let me just put it out there bluntly and with no respect to them, are dumb as dog shit. Okay, you had this is nothing new. Once again, in every race, community, or marginalized society, you always have a group that is self-hating, self-loathing, and self-deprecating. You've had blacks for cotton picking. You've had Jews for Hitler. You have rats for rat traps and gays for Trump. They're all the same, And the fact that we are seeing these numbers within our community, it really is disappointing, because at the same time that they are supporting an administration that does not support them, does not support their rights, they are enjoying the rights that are hard fought on the backs of people like myself and other activists that have come way before me, and the blood, sweat, and tears that this community has shed so that they can sit back and sit in the lap of luxury and have the ability to now go out there and pretend like, there is no struggle. Bitch, there is still a struggle. You just don't feel it now because other people have died so that you can feel fab.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to piggyback off of Power. They assimilated. They don't need the Democrats to validate their marriage anymore. They have everything that they want, which is why most of those people who voted for Trump are probably cis, gay, white men. And it's because they blend in so well. And as Power said, their privilege allows for them to slip through the cracks without any more oppression and discrimination, especially now that they have the right to marry, and that the fight for adoption and kids is also pretty much a moot point as well. So if you're talking about whether or not cis, gay, white men want to hang out with their fellow white friends or try to uncomfortably fit in with their fellow POC, of course they're going to go to the other side and be like, hey, Bidens, thanks for the marriage. Me and my husband and my 2 kids are going to go over to this religious right now and start going to church again now that, everything is all right and rain for us, and we got ours. So
you think it's them fitting in?
Respectability politics thing. No, I really think it's a respectability politics thing, because a lot of, and I know Al's about to say, well, black gay men voted for him too or whatever, but what I was going to say is that white people on the whole, we've been sold this narrative in America our whole lives that as you get older, you're supposed to get more conservative. And I really think that is seen as respectable, and I think a lot of this is really white people and gay people buying into the respectability politics of that, oh, we didn't take gay people seriously before, but if I do this, I'm going to be respected, I'm going to be taken seriously, and I think they're really buying into that.
Is this a situation, Taisha's point, what Gordon just said, are we watching a historic cultural change where privileged white in the LGBT community is from the Will and Grace 2000 days, that we're seeing an evolution where we don't need the same kind of protections, which is what Taisha is saying, and as a result, large chunks of the LGBTQ community are no longer going to need to shelter in diversity in the community because they don't need that protection or feel like they need that protection.
They feel that they don't need that protection.
Yeah, but also a lot of the,
first of all, gain respectability by going to the Republicans.
Y'all are over talking each other.
Well, I'm on the screen now.
Power, right?
Once that protection is actually taken away and stripped from them, you'll see how many of them run to the Republican Party, the same party that is actively working and has been actively working for the last 4 years to strip them of marriage equality, housing protections, protections for trans, erasing trans identity. I mean, this and a litany of other things. So I would hope, this is what I offer to the Republican Party. If and when you guys ever get into power again, or ever get into a position where you want to strip our community of our rights, why don't we do this? You strip them bitches over there, you strip them of their rights. Leave us the fuck alone. Go strip them bitches over there of their rights. And that's how we can come to a compromise. You oppress them, that way you get your feel and you get your hatred out of the way. Whip their ass. Don't whip ours. Don't fuck with us.
Yeah, and that's something I wanted to say is I feel like in the mainstream culture, being gay is a lot more widely accepted. And I think that a lot of these people who, especially men who are just gay, they feel like they're not really afraid of what could happen, and they don't really see the rest of the community's struggle as their struggle, even though it is. And to them, I hope they know that the rest of the community is watching.
Because at the end of the day, you can walk out your door and hide your gayness. I cannot walk out my door and hide my blackness. My siblings cannot walk out their door and hide who they are as individuals. So you saw the numbers grow from 4 years because he gave the flashlight to say it's okay. He gave them an open door 4 years ago, but now what he's done is blew up the house and said, this is who we are. And so people felt comfortable aligning themselves because at the end of the day, they know if that's who they align with, that's who they are, it's comfortable and it's PC, it's politically right now in their eyes to be there. That's why you have the aggression that they've been doing all this week. That's why we see them in the neighborhood being as violent as they are. That's why we see them going into black neighborhoods, the black polling places, being as violent as they are, because he set the go. And we have to deal with that because it's not easy for us to hide behind a door. It's not easy for mesh in. The white gay folk, the white cis males can do that because at the end of the day, they often hold some of the power. They have the businesses. They don't have to worry about it. They have the good old boy network where we are the marginalized community trying to fight for our way into those things. And we are often left out because they built the system. They built the system that the college, electoral college, they built all these things. So they're riding off of that process. So they want to ride into that. And if I can
Elimination. I want to ask you and all of the hosts. We have fought this and happening out televisions, different brands over the last 2 years. I mean, Power and I have been side by side on this subject since September 20, 2018. But is it possible in looking at these numbers, especially the growth of these numbers, that the hashtag walkaway crowd, the gays for Trump crowd, the log cabin Republican crowd, Richard Grenell's and a Trump daughter, Trump prides, they are having impact and success in our community of peeling big chunks of us away?
They've never been comfortable. They've never been comfortable with me. But you don't realize that they've only put up with us. They've never been fully comfortable. And if you don't believe it, look at your literature. Look at what you see.
I agree with you. I agree with you. But far more important is to discuss what we do about it.
I hear what you're asking. And so yes, we can admit that they have had some success. I think you trying to overplay it, trying to tell me, oh, they're peeling big chunks because I mean, let's keep it's 28%. We still have the majority, so they're having some success. I don't know about no big.
They had a 70% increase from 2016 to 2020.
But you have to relate, okay, as someone who took a statistics class, you have to relate that to the percentage of the growth within that percentage that happened. So let me just clarify that as someone who took statistics, you cannot overreach that statistic and overinflate someone with fear, stating that, oh no, the world's on fire, all the gays are leaving us.
I have an obligation, Taisha, to be a contrarian, but let me talk right back to you and say Florida was lost. And the reason Florida was lost is because if they had a 70% increase in Latino vote in Miami-Dade County, they did not carry. Biden won Miami-Dade County, but the percentage of voters that moved to Trump from 2016 to 2020 was enough to win Florida. They did not win Miami-Dade County.
Right, so let me rephrase. I definitely think you could be contrarian. I just want you to be realistic and factual with the statistics that you're stating and put it in relation to the charts that you're talking about. Yes, when we talk about Latino voters, we need to split the Puerto Ricans and the Cubans. The Cubans were thinking in a capitalist mindset, and the Puerto Ricans were thinking in a humanity in a concept. So absolutely, the grassroots of the Democratic Party, the grassroots.
What happened in Miami-Dade County?
True.
No, it isn't. I'll tell you why. If you'll stop talking a moment, I'll tell you why. In Miami-Dade County, they ran 10,000 commercials that said socialist, 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 socialist. And the Latinos believed it. And a very significant percentage of those Latinos decided, with no education, because they wouldn't ask any questions, they voted for Trump. A very significant
I know that.
percentage.
You're not letting me clarify.
Wait, a very significant percentages of the LGBT community said it was better for us to go with Trump because of our money, or because we were white, or because we like Richard Grenell, or we believe that Trumps are for gays or gays for Trump. You cannot reject this so outright the way we've always rejected it.
I'm not rejecting it.
Well, then
You're
what
not
are you
listening
saying?
to what I'm saying.
listening carefully, Taisha,
I
but
don't
your
know. You're
words are
trying to
not
mansplain.
echoing together.
Okay, you're going to give me a chance to explain? I can
I'm
explain.
all ears. Go ahead.
So, yes, the Trump did a great job at buying ads in the radios and destroying Biden by saying he was a socialist. That appealed very much to the Cuban population, which is why the Cuban population absolutely voted substantially for Trump. That is very accurate. It is also accurate that some of the Puerto Ricans also voted for Trump due to the lack of literacy and education that they had, and they listened to what was available to them, because what was not available to them was the Democratic Party coming down there and rebutting what the Trump presidency was doing. Absolutely correct. The Democratic Party was relying on the black vote in Miami to carry Miami, and it didn't whatsoever. And so we can't just blame the Trump presidency on doing their job, which they did great. We can blame the Democratic grassroots party down there. The point that I'm making is it is accurate that there was a change in the statistics and it was getting higher. It is in relation to the previous election.
Can I ask, what is the point you're making?
You can't inflate the statistic and be like a 78%
We lost
increase.
Florida on Miami-Dade County, the largest Democratic county in Florida. Miami-Dade County was the only metropolitan county in the United States that had the degree of support for Trump that it had. There's a reason why. Because we can't continue to say we're always going to get the vote. And don't overinflate the statistics, because the statistics are not being overinflated.
I think there's a really good comment on the screen right now that I think is important to this conversation. Yes. And the comment says it was lost because of the evangelical Christian Cubans. And I think that is very true.
That's what I'm trying to say. Can I jump in here? Okay, can I jump in here? Because I just want to clarify. Because from my observing this, it sounds like Taisha is trying to point out that the gay community cannot be blamed for Florida losing the election, because at the end of the day, we're a minority anyway. You're kind of victim blaming. But however, the data is showing that amongst our community, even though we're a minority, a greater amount of the people within our minority support Trump than last time. Am I right? Because it seems like the two of you are talking sideways to each other, so please clarify.
77% of the LGBTQ voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016. That dropped to, despite everything that Al and Power and the HRC and GLAAD and Equality Florida and SAFE said, it dropped to 61% on Tuesday. You can't argue with those statistics.
Right, they can't, and they assumed that the gay vote was still going to vote for Democratic, and so they didn't do their job there. And the gay people,
a very significant loss of people that moved away.
That is okay. Oh Lord, you're not okay.
And so at the end of the day, they moved away because we have to look back to why did they move away and who, and the basic.
Thank you.
Human, being a human. And being a human, we all counted on the fact that people were going to be human and say, all right, we don't like Trump, so therefore, as a human, we go in this direction. The problem is we cannot say what people feel as humans, because there's degrees of humanness, there's degrees of where you feel, and there's degrees of your character.
But first of all, it's Florida. Florida, so
and that's
you already
true.
know. You already know Florida. If it's Florida, it's going to be bumfuckery.
And no matter what, right. And people who hide their hidden agenda.
And no matter what Walkaway did, no matter, you want to know what? At the end of the day, after everything is said and done, at the end of the day, no matter what Walkaway did, if Biden wins, Walkaway didn't do enough.
Yeah, and I think also that what has happened here is that the right has really made a lot of gains based on the polarizing of the issue of race. So my reference point to this is not too long ago, I mean, like 1 or 2 years ago, we really started using the pride flag that has a brown and a black stripe in it. And I am old enough to remember lots of white people freaking out about it because they were like, that's not me, da 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 da. They didn't want to acknowledge the diversity, whatever. So our community as a whole is trying to address the inequities within our community and acknowledge the diversity within our community, and those people who have been benefiting from that the whole time but don't necessarily identify with that part of the community are pulling themselves away from the community because they see that and they don't identify with it, and then they see, you know, lily white people on the Republican side saying,
wait a minute.
hey, we like
wait a minute.
and they identify with them.
What happens if it has nothing to do with race and they just happen to like the Republican positions better than the
what
Democrats?
I'm trying to get
what
to.
happens to
and
that?
that's fine, and that's fine. But at the end of the day,
And
stop
should-
checking minorities. Check the people that you sleep with, that you eat with, that you talk to. Stop blaming this population of color folks. Stop blaming this population of Cubans.
No, wait.
Stop those
Elimination.
people.
That's
Go
wait.
there.
No,
Wait,
no, absolutely. I
John's
can't
point.
accept
To
that.
John's point.
I
No, to
personally
John's
cannot
point, why'd
accept
they go
that.
there?
Elimination.
Why
I
they go
cannot
there?
accept that.
Why?
That's not what the statistics show. We've had a 16-point decline in our community in supporting a white woman or a white old man. It has nothing to do with race.
To support another white man who's speaking rhetoric that is harmful to human beings. Stop. Forget that. You're right. They didn't support this one white man, but they support this one white man whose rhetoric spoke to them better than Biden.
Yeah. Thank you.
And the vice president who was a black
Well,
woman.
if it spoke to them better, what are the Democrats doing wrong then?
Then that's the question.
Oh no. We are not going to blame the Democrats. What Trump pretty much stated was black people are setting our cities on fire and our businesses are burning.
Did it occur to you or Elimination this is not a race issue?
How is this not? Oh,
It's
Lord.
not
Yeah.
a race issue. The overall numbers that we're talking,
hold on.
right with you. Come on now. You know I'm right with you on race in America, in our community, with trans. That's not what this survey is reporting. This reporting is showing that there is a significant trend in the LGBTQ community moving away from what we have traditionally thought was the Democratic Party.
So hold on.
Okay, but I don't agree. I don't agree that it's not a race issue.
Hold on.
I don't agree that. Hold on. I don't agree that it's not a race issue. I don't know if there's one particular thing that we can place it and blame it on.
Of course.
I think there's a conflagration of factors, but race definitely plays a big part of it. Now, if you guys remember during the whole, right after George Floyd was killed and the whole protest that erupted all over the world, that was when you really saw a lot of our LGBTQ community show their ass. And I was really surprised because you saw, this wasn't politics, this was just on social issues, which was race. You saw a lot of our community acting ignorant, blaming black people for George Floyd's death, blaming black people for the protest, which we were protesting our own genocide. I was really surprised to see the level of ignorance within our own community. So if they're not racist, they have decided that racism was not enough of an issue for them when they came to Trump, which to me still equates to racism. So yeah, it's a racism issue.
Yeah, okay.
So I want to say, hold on. Okay, so
Gordon, can I ask? Gordon, before you come in again, does anybody else have anything else that they want to say? Because I'm gonna close up this conversation.
Can I just because I've been sitting on this, and I think it's important to say, the more that the right opens up socially to our community, and it will happen regardless of their official platform, regardless of what the religious right is doing, the more that the right opens up to us, the more of us that will move to the right. And that is really what's going to happen.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. I apologize. We've spent a lot of time on this. It's going to be a central issue for us that we're going to need to continue to discuss. Whatever the right answers or the wrong answers. By the way, one of the things that I think is very distressing in this survey is that perhaps as many as 11%, now we can argue the validity of the size and the survey, et cetera. That's fine, I understand that. But as many as 11% of the LGBTQ filled out their ballot or went into the voting booth and did not vote for a president of the United States. They voted for other issues, other candidates, but didn't vote for Biden or Trump. That's very distressing to me because it's an indication not only 27 or 28% voted for Trump, but a very significant percentage, another maybe up to 11, didn't vote for either one. What does that say?
Or voted for Kanye.
Or voted for, I'm sorry.
Kanye, or they voted for Kanye.
Is it too early to call Kanye out? I don't know.
Terrific conversation, everybody.
Honestly, Al.
All right. I apologize. We got to move out.
Can we also remember the comments? I would also let everyone know that the comments, you should read them because, again, you should just read the comments.
Yeah, they're very engaging. And thank you, thank you, everybody for engaging,
participating in our conversation. Unfortunately, I can't read them, so I can't see them, or I would bring them to your attention too. But great conversation, and we'll clearly have a lot of different things to discuss and work to do for 22 and 24. And it's only Thursday night, 2 days after the 20 election. All right. Let's move into our final just one more sentence. A little lighter, everyone. Who doesn't like Norse gods? Elimination, do you like Norse gods?
I like the Norse god.
Yeah, all right. Who doesn't like Norse gods? Who thought that Avengers was anything more than soft porn, especially with the Thor movies? Every gay man loves a bad boy. And the news this week that Disney, yes, I said Disney, announced the formation of a new series combining these two themes, Norse gods and the bad boy. And we just hoped on who would it be, and we found out it was. And now it looks like it has come true. So let's write the story in just one more sentence. Headline: did you hear? Thor's brother Loki is LGBTQ in the new Disney Plus series with male love interest. Oh, and some girls too. What do y'all think? Power?
Well, Loki's cute and all, but it was the Thor for me.
Me too. Houston?
Yes, I am here for queering up the mythology. Let's get to it, baby.
Ty?
Whatever it takes to get you to Valhalla, I'm in.
Oh, that's cute. John?
Nothing like having sex with a god. Trust me.
Oh. That's sad. Rossaroni?
So the trickster god is turning tricks, banging chicks, and sucking dicks.
Ooh. Taisha?
Thank you.
I'm on here for the player playing more and playing it all.
Elimination?
Who doesn't low key like a trick that carries a big stick?
Hold
on, Loki, the god of tricks. What are you talking about? Okay.
No. Wait, hold on. I apologize, Gordon. Elimination, are you arguing or refereeing for your observation in just one more sentence?
I'm just trying to defend the stick that I called early this morning. Earlier in the show that pulled me off the stage. I'm trying to stay on the
stage. Gordon?
Hi, Gordon.
Like Gordon?
I love that our representations of ancient gods are becoming desanitized from how they've been, because then we're going to learn about all of the ancient gods that were third gender, two genders, they were gay, they were non-binary, they were queer, they were all of it. And we've been here since forever.
All right, very good. All right, well, there you have it, America. something totally unique for the LGBTQ community. These amazing hosts and others that you haven't seen tonight will be here every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Regardless of the issues that face the LGBTQ community, it's all going to be discussed right here. Tell your friends and family, share the conversation, participate. We either are a community or we are not. And all you have to do is look in the eyes of these people and the incredible diversity sitting in front of you and hear their words to know we are a strong LGBTQ community. That's why we challenge each other to improve our strength. So thank you for joining us, and until next time, the conversation is just beginning on Gay Town Hall. Good night, America.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that was lively.
That was pretty lively, everyone. Well done.
Oh my Anybody else holding it apart for the last 10 minutes?
That was horseshit.
I have never heard y'all yell before. Oh my lord.
Only 2,497 votes separate Biden and Georgia.
How many? Elimination?
2,497.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
Atlanta really came through. Really.
Georgia.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish we could get just one state to report.
I was shocked, by the way, that you all thought,
Exactly.
the majority of you thought Georgia was going to be the over 270.
Really? I mean, they're just apart by a razor thin, difference. That's why I thought that would be the closest win for Biden.
Yeah.
I don't know what to believe anymore.